Xiaomi is one of the top smartphone manufacturers in India, and to get there, it has flooded the market with budget smartphones. As a result, we have a lot of models that overlap when it comes to pricing, so much so that a few variants are only 1000 rupees apart. Now, the Xiaomi Redmi 5 and the Redmi Note 5 are some of these models that are closely priced. Now, these are related, and the Redmi Note 5 is actually called the Redmi 5 Plus in China. Now, if you are in the market and are confused between these two, we help you decide. Now, before we go ahead, be sure to subscribe to the Gadgets 360 YouTube channel and don't forget to click on the bell icon so that you know when we have a new video for you. Now, first, we have to say that the Redmi 5 and the Redmi Note 5 look identical, so much so that many people won't be able to distinguish between the two. The Redmi Note 5 is the bigger of the two and sports a 5.99-inch display with an 18:9 aspect ratio. The Redmi 5 has a slightly smaller 5.7-inch display with the same aspect ratio. The resolutions are also different. While the Redmi 5 has an HD Plus resolution, the Redmi Note 5 uses a Full HD Plus panel. Also, after using both these phones, we can say that the panel on the Redmi Note 5 is better than that of the Redmi 5. Both phones look similar from the rear as well. Both have 12 megapixel primary cameras, and the only visible difference is that the Redmi 5 has a single LED flash while the Redmi Note 5 has a dual LED flash. Both phones have their fingerprint scanners at the back and both work quickly. The Redmi 5 is smaller, and as a result the fingerprint scanner is easier to reach. Whereas for the Redmi Note 5, you will need to stretch your fingers to reach the scanner. The placement of buttons and the ports is identical on both the phones. The physical buttons are on the right, the SIM and microSD trays are on the left. The microUSB ports are at the bottom and the 3.5mm headphone sockets are on the top. Both phones also have infrared emitters that can be used to control IR-based appliances. Photos taken from both these phones are usually good, but there are marginal differences. While shooting landscapes, we saw that the Redmi Note 5 was able to get slightly better shots, while the Redmi 5 had less accurate colors. For macros, both smartphones had similar performance, and it's hard to distinguish between the two. Low light shots are also similar, but we saw that the Redmi Note 5 was a little better than the Redmi 5. Look at the spec sheet of both these phones and you will notice that these are powered by different hardware. The Redmi Note 5 is powered by the tried and tested Snapdragon 625 processor and is available in two variants. It's either 3GB of RAM and 32GB of storage, or 4GB of RAM and 64GB of storage. The Redmi 5 on the other hand gets the newer but lower end Snapdragon 450 processor and comes with either 2GB of RAM and 16GB of storage, 3GB of RAM, 32GB of storage, or 4GB of RAM and 64GB of internal storage. You get the same software experience on both smartphones as they both run MIUI 9.2 on top of Android 7.1.2. The Redmi Note 5 is snappier than the Redmi 5 when you navigate through the menus or load an app. The difference isn't huge, but you will notice it when you have both the phones side by side doing the exact same thing. There's also a significant difference when it comes to battery life. The Redmi Note 5 takes advantage of its big body and packs in a 4000 mAh battery, while the smaller Redmi 5 has to make do with a 3300 mAh battery. The difference is noticeable as the Redmi Note 5 ran for 15 hours and 10 minutes in our HD video loop test, while the Redmi 5 could only run for 13 hours and 36 minutes. Both the smartphones get a 10-watt charger in the box, but it is the Redmi 5 that charges to 100% quicker on account of a smaller battery. If you are stuck deciding between these two phones, here is what it all comes down to. Both these phones look as good, and there is no difference when it comes to software. The Redmi Note 5 has the advantage of a faster processor, bigger, better, higher resolution screen, and a larger battery. Considering that there is a 1000 rupee price difference between the corresponding variants of these smartphones, the Redmi Note 5 is the winner here only if you can stretch your budget a bit. Thanks for watching. For all things tech, log on to gadgets360.com.